to go. It's a little chilly today for a t-shirt, but I liked it. Hey guys, welcome back to our New York homestead. Today I'm going to be taking you through my homestead pantry staples. So I have 10 staples to share with you today, and I'm going to be going through them and explaining why for me they're my staples and how I use them in everyday life as a homemaker. And these are just, again, what I recommend, what I personally use, not what you need to, but if you're looking for ways to inventory your pantry or stock up, or if there's things that you're wondering, I might need this, that, or the other, this could be a good list for you. I also want to say that if in the background at all you hear a bell jingling, it is just my cat. He is chasing his toys and having the time of his life. First on my list is inventory and regular rotation. I've mentioned it a couple of times that I used to be a professional baker for probably like 7 or 8 years, and this is something I have put into my own kitchen and my own lifestyle, and a lot of that comes from that experience. But inventory and regular rotation is so important so that way you understand what you have and how to use the first in, first out method. It's pretty self-explanatory. Whatever you bring in first needs to be used first, so that way you have as little food waste or any sort of waste as possible. I try, and I could also be better at this, but I try to just keep a mental inventory in my head of what we have on hand or what we might need, but I also do try and keep a list on our refrigerator of all the things that we're low on or out of, so that way the next time we go to the store I know to just grab that list and I can get more of what I need. It also helps too for someone in my situation, and maybe this is similar for you as well, but if you don't have a lot of space, if you don't have a really big pantry area or any pantry area really, we only really have 2 cabinets that we can store dry goods in. I try to also, when we are low on stuff, write the amount that we can get, because we cannot keep more. For example, we can't keep more than 3 jars of organic pasta sauce in our cabinet at a time. So if I know we're down by 2, then I'll just make a little note on the side of the list saying that we need 2 of these, and then I know how many I should get to replenish our inventory. Number 2 on my list is glass storage. We have been trying really hard to make the conscious effort of switching from plastic to glass. There are so many negative things that come with plastic Tupperwares or any sort of plastic storage containers. So over the past little while, I've been making a really conscious effort to switch to glass containers. There's easy ways that you can slowly switch out from plastic to glass. You can check your local thrift stores where you can get glass containers for a cheaper price, or even going to places like Walmart, where I got these storage containers for like my wheat berries and my organic rolled oats. There's so many more benefits to keeping things in glass storage. Keeping things stored in glass storage eliminates the BPA that can be found in plastic storage containers. It's easier to recycle glass, and it's also a lot easier to clean glass than it is plastic. I know you know of that one time where you put leftover pasta or sauce in a plastic storage container and you never got the color out again. Everyone's done it, and with glass that is a scenario that does not happen. Third on my list is to label. This is so important, and another thing that I really inherited from working in kitchens for years and years and years is to label products. It is so important, especially to date things, so that way you know and you can easily remember when something came in and when it should go out. If you have had something in your freezer for months and months and months and you don't remember when it came from or how it got there or when it was supposed to be used last, labeling is a really easy way to keep track of when a product may have come in and when it should go out. This also helps if you like to use glass storage containers like I do. You can label them with tape or any sort of fancy labels that you like, even printing out labels on the computer and then just printing them out and putting them on a glass container. It's an easy way to visually see kind of what you have. It also helps with avoiding confusion. If you have 2 items that might look similar, you can easily identify one over the other. The next item on my list is canning. I have started to get into canning. If you have seen my last homemaking video, you will see where I tried canning tomatoes for the very first time and how that whole process went for me. Canning is a super easy way to preserve foods that you might have grown your own. It can also help you control what goes in your food. When you know what you're canning, you know exactly what you're putting in it, how much of it, and the quality of the ingredients. There are way less additives when you can stuff yourself, and I've mentioned several times in an upcoming video that I will be talking all about a porch, patio, garden of sorts that I'm planning on doing for my husband and I for the upcoming year, so that way we can have our own fresh produce and I can can it and show you guys the whole journey of our porch garden. But that is what we're planning on doing, and I'm planning on honing my skills and canning some more by that project. Next on my list is herbs and spices. This is one of my favorite things from this list. It is so easy to dry and store your own herbs at home. I highly recommend doing this. I know I personally have a really hard time keeping fresh herbs to last a super long time. I just don't go through them as fast as I would like to. And drying and keeping your own herbs at home is so easy. I'm planning on making a video in the future where I talk all about drying and preserving my own herbs at home without a dehydrator, without anything fancy. You can do it right in your own oven at home. It is super easy, super simple. I have herbs currently in my cabinet from May or June of last year. They are still holding on strong. They're doing super well, and it is such an easy way to keep something that you will use for dishes, for dinners, for lunches, anything of the sort, and it's a great way to add flavor to your home cooked meals. I have purchased recently in my Azure Standard video a handful of organic spices. So I got onion powder, garlic powder, I picked up some minced onion as well, and I keep those all in these tiny little glass storage jars. And for my dried herbs, I just use old mason jars or old sauce jars and label them and put my dried herbs in there, and it works out super well. The next item on my list is flour and grains. For me and for many homemakers out there, flour and grains are so essential in our kitchen. I go through so much flour, it's kind of insane. It is definitely a staple for my pantry, and it will be for years to come. I mentioned again in my Azure Standard haul video that I got some bulk grains for the very first time, and I've been using those to have fresh flour on hand whenever I need it. And if you are in a mindset of trying to make more of your own stuff at home, you'll be so surprised as to how fast you will go through something like a 10-pound bag of flour if you are really making an effort to make more at home. If you have the space, I would highly recommend that you buy so much of this in bulk, along with products like grains and flour. The next item on my list is a very general term, but it is all baking essentials. I have mentioned that I used to work in a lot of culinary kitchens, and I was a professional baker for many years, and I went to school for culinary arts for baking and pastries specifically, and having baking supplies is absolutely essential. I have found as a homemaker, you go through so many baking supplies: baking powder, baking soda, flour, brown sugar. A lot of those you can even make on your own at home. I don't buy brown sugar from the grocery store anymore. I just make my own with regular granulated sugar and molasses. I also keep my baking soda, baking powder, brown sugar, any real baking essential, powdered sugar even. I keep those all in glass storage containers, and I find that gives them a really decent life shelf and keeps them for a long time, even though they don't last a super long time in my pantry. The next item on my list is cooking oils. This is such a pantry staple that you should have in any kitchen. I have been loving using coconut oil recently. That has been my go-to cooking oil. I use it to season my cast iron pans, I use it to fry eggs, I use it to toast bread, I use it for so many different things. And if I'm not using coconut oil, I'm using really good extra virgin olive oil, and I always have that on hand as well. It is so important to have good cooking oils on hand, and it can help give dimension and depth to your recipes. Second last item on my list is pasta and rice. I have shown on this channel several times how I've been making my own pasta recently, and it is not for every single pasta situation. We do have dry pasta on hand still. That is a great pantry staple to have, but pasta and rice are things that can keep for a long time. You can bulk up on them, and it's something that you will always use in your pantry. You can use any kind of pasta and rice for so many different dishes, so many different creative ways to use them and help to diversify your meals in your home. And the very last item on my list for today is emergency supplies or emergency staples. It is so important, especially if you are able to and have a large enough space, to have some emergency supplies on hand. Where I come from, we have a lot of snowstorms, and there was a situation about 2 years ago when my husband and I had our very first winter and Christmas living together, where we were locked in our apartment for about 5 days. We could not go anywhere. The snow was so bad, and we had enough food and we were okay, but it really put a perspective into our minds as to how we should really stock up and hold on to as much as we possibly can in case a situation like that occurs in the future where we can't get out, we can't go anywhere. We do have some supplies on hand. We would love in the future to have a basement, a root cellar, some sort of pantry area where we can have a lot stocked up, ready to go. I'd love to have canned goods, my own canned goods, anything that we think that we will possibly need to keep on hand in case of an emergency. I highly recommend this for you as well. It can be something just as simple as picking up a couple of extra cans of soup when you're in the grocery store, cans of tuna, any canned good really will help you out in the future. And having, again, maybe some bulk grains, dried pasta, a lot of that stuff keeps for a lot longer than you think and can really help you in a pinch if there ever is an emergency. That is all for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a kind of a last minute thinking about it sort of video for me for this week, and I thought it would be fun to share what my pantry staples are. If you're interested in a pantry tour in the future, please leave me a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. I make 2 new videos every single week on all things homemaking, sourdough, and country living. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you in my next video.